Hello, wonderful ladies and gentlemen from the break at the Apex podcast. Welcome back to yet another one, even though slightly boring. We are here to review the Singapore Grand Prix, or I should say the Lando Norris Dominance Grand Prix. Graham, BT, how you guys doing? BT, I want to hear from you first tonight.
It's discrimination,
Um,
this.
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Ready for the podcast. Not the best of races, but let's go.
Mm,
Yep.
Graham?
Yeah. I'm also ready for the podcast, but I do agree. The race was somewhat boring, or not somewhat boring, very boring. But I'm still excited to talk about it, so let's get into it. By the way, can I just say,
Yes.
when Dirk said about the whole boring part, he made it sound like we're boring. We're not boring, so please stick around. We'll try our best to make it fun. Okay, let's move on.
And while Graham is busy talking about not being boring, you don't be boring. Hit the like down below, and let's get straight into the first topic that I've already mentioned in the intro. Lando Norris dominance. Now, actually, the question I want to pose to you, gents, is so we've got two examples of this now, Zandvoort being one, and now Singapore the second. Lando goes into a different mode when he leads a race. We also actually saw it with Miami earlier this season before the McLaren was the fastest car. And the only sad part is now if Max finishes second in every Grand Prix, even if Lando wins every Grand Prix with fastest lap, Max will still win the championship by a few points. Thank you, Daniel Ricciardo. We will get to you later. But point being is Lando is in a very bad he's in a tough position now more than I feel he was before. But that car in clean air in the hands of Lando is a different animal. And Graham, I know you as a McLaren slash Red Bull fanboy that can't choose between the two. What is what is your like? Just give me your thoughts on Lando when he leads and that McLaren is just hooked up.
First of all, I just want to say, if you're looking at BT and you're looking at me, most of you by now should, hopefully there's some new people, but for most of you that do know, BT and I are both in Cape Town. And I'm wearing this very unnecessarily because I'm actually dying of heat right now. It is so hot. I'm so hot. But okay, anyways.
Yeah. Send it my way because Gauteng is cold as can be.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I think those in Durban are enjoying themselves a lot. But anyways,
Yeah.
cool. So Lando Norris. First of all, I just want to say, well done to the lad. I think he had an amazing race, and I think he's proven as well again for I don't know how many times that he's capable of pulling off such performances. And the reason I say that, I've been seeing a lot of things about people saying how Lando is not championship worthy. He's not this, he's not that. Piastri is better than him, way better than him, and this, and that, and the next thing. The reality is, he's still beating Piastri in stats this year. Okay, and I'm not saying that Piastri isn't better than him. I'm just saying give Piastri time. What I am saying is Lando definitely does have the talent. Okay, maybe he does make a couple mistakes from time to time, but so did Leclerc. The point is that he does have the talent. And all he's done this weekend is he's just proven that he can do it. And then people talk about the fact that he gets complacent and he almost crashed the car. But let's not forget 2018 Max Verstappen, how many times he did crash the car. Lando's never really been through a period like that. Okay, then we also look at Max Verstappen in 2018 when there was some crazy monsoon happening in Brazil. He lost that car, and the way he caught that car amazed everybody in the world. How in the world he actually did that? I think it was 2018.
2016.
2016, how he caught that car in Brazil, which was really ridiculous. And if you think about it, Lando caught the car. He didn't crash it. That's the point. You know, we're talking about one of the most technical tracks on the planet. We're talking about one of the tracks on the planet that you could probably, besides Monaco, be the easiest to crash on. It's probably more so than Monaco because it's generally faster than Monaco. So hitting the walls are probably even easier, So you've got to think, the fact that he was able not to crash it, even though he lost it here and there, I think that was great. I think he showed a great performance. I do think that when he gets into the lead, he tends to get bored and then he doesn't relax himself. Maybe he just continues pushing. He said it himself. It's not that he's pushing. It's maybe that he's not pushing enough, and then he sort of gets a bit bored, lacks a bit of concentration. But it also makes you appreciate Max, if you think about it. All those years not making those mistakes. Just, you think it's so, you think, oh, it's so easy when you got the car to dominate and whatever. But clearly it isn't. Clearly it isn't. Because when you're that far ahead, you get bored in that car. And then you think to yourself, oh, I've got to challenge myself to do something. And then you do stuff you probably shouldn't do. Anyways, I don't want to ramble on too much. I've said my say. Lando Norris, extremely, extremely proud. Well done to the lad. And the last thing I'll say about him is, people talk about the fact that he's not championship worthy. And here's where I disagree. He's fighting for a championship. Yes, I know he is the hunter and not the hunted. And I know it's slightly easier. But the pressure's still on him because he has to win pretty much every single race to secure it. He has to. So the pressure is on him. Every driver wants to win the championship. So the pressure is on him. Maybe it's not on him from the team side or from anybody else's side, but from himself, he wants that championship. So the pressure is on. So, yeah.
No, absolutely. BT, your opinion?
I don't really like talking about Norris, but I
This is
mean,
a Formula One podcast. You're supposed to talk about everybody. What are you talking about?
I just want to talk about. I mean, Graham is right. I mean, there's nothing else I can say on my side. I think the other way of looking at it is that, from Norris's point of view, it was a must-win weekend. Because if Ferrari did win this weekend as well, I think the title race will be over for him. I think this win was a must-win for him to continue putting pressure on Verstappen. Although Daniel Rick spoiled that for us for the rest of the season, but I mean, it's good for him. We all know who Norris is. Potentially, he is a world champion, and we should not even argue about that. The only negative part of my statement goes to the team, which when I say that racing Hungary is going to haunt McLaren, and it's starting to do that. It's starting to do
Monza as
that
well.
because
They should have.
the swap made sense at that point because we wouldn't be talking about Verstappen finishing second the entire season to secure the championship. So that's just the negative part from me is that this guy had a chance and he's performing like he deserves to win a championship. However, the team has sometimes actually let him down. So that's just all.
He should be on 5 wins now.
Side, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he
be
should
on
be.
5
He
wins.
should be.
Most definitely.
So,
I mean, remember me and you had this argument with Dirk about them switching. No, they should not switch over. Piastri should win the race. And we're like, no, Piastri has a long career. He's going to win a championship. He's going to win races. But at the moment, we're talking about the championship this year. And that race now has caught on to McLaren because we all know Red Bull picks up their sleeve. And they just did one in Singapore.
yeah. I don't know how they pulled up a second place. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, Perez couldn't get rid of Colapinto, but that is a topic we'll get to eventually. Um, okay, but actually, Graham, to come back to your point, one thing, look, the reason I've said in the past that I don't think Lando is championship worthy has got nothing to do with Lando's talent and with his sheer driving capability. It comes to me that Lando never had that, that like that ruthless mentality that guys like Verstappen, Hamilton, Alonso has. Maybe it's brewing in him, and it seems to me like it is starting. I just don't feel it's happening quick enough. But when it comes to Lando's skill and just his sheer speed, when he has the machinery and the car is set up, everything is going fine. There's not many better than Lando Norris.
Yeah.
I will actually really admit that, especially this season, we've seen a side of Lando that we've never seen before, and I do appreciate it. And another point that I quickly want to make: look, now hindsight is a beautiful thing. So obviously, when Hungary happened and McLaren swapped the drivers back at that time, again, the reason I backed Piastri was just out of what an amazing performance Piastri did in that race. But obviously, like I said, hindsight is a beautiful thing. And now that things are really getting tight, I mean, there's 6 races left in the championship. I do see why that race, when Lando overtook Oscar with the pit stop phases in that second pit stop phase, they should have left Lando in front. I get that. So it is a juggle, but there's other points in the season where McLaren have also stolen points from Lando that's going to be critical at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But actually, let's jump into topic number 2 now that we've mentioned him. And Graham, you just said we don't know how Max pulled out of P2. Max was in such a world of his own. He absolutely crushed the Mercedes behind him, and Lando just was in a league of his own. He couldn't catch Lando. He couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And Max is really carrying Red Bull to this drivers' championship. Look, it's. I want to say the line is already written in the sand. Unfortunately, when it comes to the constructors, and Ferrari are getting closer very quickly. So there's a very legitimate threat of falling from first to third in the constructors. But like we've said on previous podcasts, the teams don't care about that because nobody cares who wins the constructors when it comes to talking about stuff in the future. They care about who was the drivers' championship. And
So does
honestly,
Daniel,
Max is
apparently.
going to carry not just it. No, Max is going to carry not just himself but this team to another drivers' championship. In my opinion, if he yanks up performances like this for the last 6 races, also Red Bull are bringing in an upgrade to Austin, which is the next Grand Prix in Texas. There's a very big possibility that Max is just going to settle for P2 for the rest of the season and beat Lando by 2-3 points when we get to the end.
Yeah, but it's also not to say that, look, Lando winning is a very unlikely scenario. It really is. It's not the favorable scenario. It's just the problem is, for example, one DNF for Max that makes it very liable. You know what I mean? It all of a sudden, McLaren looks, or I mean, all of a sudden Lando looks very clear. You know what I mean? So all Red Bull need to do now with Max is to just keep his car reliable, keep it consistent, and pick up any points in the top 5. Just any points in the top 5. Lando's not going to win every race. He's not going to win every race. And the way we've seen it this year, it's been set up. Some cars are not going to like, even McLaren. McLaren is the one car that is maybe the most all-rounded, but it's still not the best around certain tracks. Ferrari might be slightly better, maybe in Austin. Maybe Red Bull will be better again, because I don't think Red Bull gets back to McLaren, but on certain tracks, perhaps maybe they will. You know what I mean? I think one thing McLaren's gotten right is that they're able to fight on any track at this point. They're able to fight on any track.
Yes.
But they're not able to win on every track, if that makes sense. So yeah, the way I see it is that Lando's not going to win every race. Ferrari will take points off of him. I don't think Mercedes is really going to do much, but Ferrari might take points off of him. Piastri might take points off of him. And to quickly just go back to what we said earlier about the Hungary situation with Piastri. Look, don't get me wrong. We've had that conversation. There's no need for us to talk about that again. For me, there was no such thing as hindsight. It's a championship battle. The team needs to back a team. I liken Lando to Jensen Button. He's also got that nice guy character. He's also like I'm not saying he's a one-hit wonder, but like he's just got that nice guy character, but he's extremely, extremely quick. And he's really, really good. But if he's in that fight, you've got to give it to him. You've got to throw all your eggs in his basket, because he will deliver if you just give it to him. So that's my take on that. But with that being said, what I wanted to say about it was that Piastri is good, and he's definitely one for the future. But the team need to understand that Lando is in a shot to win a championship. The thing is for Piastri, okay, and Max said this, and I kind of understand why. Piastri's points difference to Lando is smaller than Lando to Max. So even
Yes.
Max was saying that, you know, Piastri would also like to finish second. I mean, imagine in your second year of Formula One, you're finishing second. You know, so at the end of the day, it kind of makes sense that Piastri is not really stepping back and saying, okay, Lando, it's your year, take it, I'll just back you up. In any case, that also shows you the type of driver Piastri is. That tells me that that's one of the main reasons why I believe Piastri is a champion for the future. Because he's not here to mess around. He's not here to be a second driver, even if it is only his second year. So, but yeah, any case, regarding Red Bull, I think, I hope, come Austria, they are back in the fight properly, where Max can fight for a win again. Because we all know Max is in a league of his own. Like, let's be honest, he just is. And if his car is just... His car doesn't even have to be better than McLaren's to win. It just has to be good enough. Which has, in many cases this year, he won when the car wasn't the best. It was just good enough, you know, for him. So, yeah, I just hope that Austria brings about a really positive movement for them. Plus, imagine how spicy the last couple of races will be if Red Bull's upgrades work, because then you've got Red Bull, Ferrari and McLaren all tussling out. Maybe Mercedes comes in, who knows. Could be exciting. I'm keen.
Yeah.
No, same here.
Stop saying Austria is Austin. Anyway.
Oh, sorry.
Nah. Austria has long gone, Graham.
Sorry,
it's already
guys.
happened.
Yeah, no, not too many. I'm not going to say much about Max on my side. I mean, look, after this season, surely Max will look at this season as one of the hardest championships he's ever had to earn, to be honest with you. 2021 was a good season. He was the hunter, and he eventually won. But I do think this season it probably is the hardest championship that he had to win, because he was not the most dominant car throughout the season, you know, and it's the first time seeing Max the way he is with that car at the moment, where he's actually trying the wheels off that car, and also being the hunter himself as well. I mean, this past race in Singapore, he was amazing. I mean, I think in his mind he knew that he won't win the race, so he had to at least be closer to Norris in terms of position-wise, taken just to maintain the gap in the championship.
Yes.
But also, to be honest, Graham's also right that Norris won't win every race. And I can see how the way Leclerc's been performing in the Ferrari, he's about to spoil someone's party this season.
For sure.
To be honest with you. And Max is also looking at Ferrari like he sees Leclerc's performance these past races. And Max is actually hoping that Leclerc is able to cancel out Norris in certain races. So it's going to be interesting to see throughout the and the other thing before I give it over to you, Doug, I can't wait till Las Vegas. That race last year was amazing.
Yes.
And the way the McLaren at the moment, the way Leclerc's form is at the moment, that's going to be a fantastic
For
race,
sure.
to
Can
be
I
honest
just
with
add
you.
something quickly? I know BT really wanted to say this, but BT likes to err on the side of caution, but I don't. And I just wanted to say, BT, the reason why 2021 wasn't Max's hard-fought title was because of Michael Massey. Okay? That is why.
Yeah.
So just be honest about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was hoping for you to say it. So, yeah, thank you, Graham. Thank you.
Okay. Besides the Michael Massey tragedy,
And Latifi.
Look, when it comes...
And Latifi.
Oh,
But don't
Nicholas
worry, don't worry. We don't have
Latifi.
Latifi, but we do have Sargent. Oh no, sorry, we don't have. Sorry.
No, okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say this now. And again, I know you two are going to absolutely banter me because I was a Logan Sargent fan for
banter,
6 months.
It's banter. Don't forget.
Okay, but we've got...
It's not that deep, Doug. It's
Graham.
not that deep. Just
Graham,
carry on.
tack, man, tack. In any case, we've got frickin' Franco Colapinto now, and I am confident that I can put my eggs in this guy's basket. But again,
I am
we'll
too.
get to him now that we've actually mentioned Ferrari. Okay, so again, this is not because I am a Ferrari fanboy, not a fanboy, just passionate. I'm lying. Point being, this is not coming from a fanboy perspective. Before anybody rants about it in the comments, nobody can doubt, besides Ferrari absolutely screwing themselves in qualifying, Sainz putting it in the wall, and Leclerc's lap being deleted because he overdrove the car on cold tires. Besides that, the Ferrari and clean air this weekend, obviously it's not very visible because they was constantly battling, trying to overtake cars to get back to the front.
Mm.
That car in clean air this weekend was the fastest car on that track.
Yeah.
Lando's tires were fresher than Leclerc's after the pit stops. And Leclerc went on something, I think it was 5 or 6 laps in a row, where he booted in fastest lap after he got into some clean air. And Leclerc was flying. And even Sainz, when they pitted Sainz so early, when that car switched on those hard tires, Sainz was absolutely flying. So we watch the international commentators because again, I can't stand the Pep special commentators, with all due respect.
The
And
whoop. The whoop.
even Crofty said at a stage when Sainz went onto those hards that he was quicker than Lando and Max by more than half a second. And that's only when their tires were 10 laps old. Sainz pitted on lap 10. That to me is insane. And now that we've said that, obviously, when I was referencing Lando, the only reference I'm trying to make is if I know it's not going to happen. If Lando wins every race and Max is second, he will not win. Lando needs to outscore Max by more than 8 points every race from now on to win the championship. That's what I'm trying. So he needs 9 or more to win the championship every single race now, which again, I don't think is going to happen. I think McLaren slept on this too long. But back to Ferrari. These upgrades that Ferrari have brought onto the car recently with Leclerc's form, and people can say about Sainz what they will, you can never count Sainz out. He's an incredible racing driver. He might not have one lap pace, but when it comes to race pace, he's not far off Leclerc. You can never throw them away. And Ferrari really seemed like a big threat for these last 6 races coming up. And where it was tracks where Ferrari usually were bad, the car this year has been strong at tracks where Ferrari has never had good pace. And I think it's very true what you both said, that Leclerc is definitely going to play a factor into this championship. And again, you can't count Sainz out of that. And if Mercedes figure something out with their cars over the weekends, they are there as well. And you've got, even though I know Graham is going to laugh now, you've got a very talented George Russell and freaking Lewis Hamilton. Graham, shush. I knew it. We can say what we want about Russell, but he
You
is
could
a
have
good
just said
driver.
we have a very hungry George Russell. That's all. That's all you had to say.
Nah, no. We've got 2 very strong drivers in those Mercedes. And if they figure their car out, it's been very clear that they are very close to the front runners' pace. There's a lot that's still going to transpire in this championship. And I honestly think Ferrari are the team that need to be watched the most from a McLaren and Red Bull perspective. BT?
Oh, you calling me?
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to comment on what you said? I mean, yeah. Sorry. Sometimes Dirk just goes on and on and on.
Yo, now you're being rude.
Um.
Now you're being
shut
rude.
up.
That was rude.
Shut up.
That was rude.
Yeah. No, Dirk. On a serious note, yeah, Ferrari is a threat at the moment. Um. The way I'm looking at Leclerc at the moment, he's on demon time, and it's amazing to watch because it's like, is he peaking at the right time? And I'm not saying because of the season. Is he peaking at the right time before Lewis Hamilton joins the team next year? That's
I
what I'm
think so.
thinking of in my head. You
I
know?
I I think so. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, he looks amazing. He's aware of his surroundings. Yes, he did question the strategy itself, but it seems like Ferrari knew what they're doing. And Ferrari could actually implement a strategy like that on Leclerc because they knew they had a better car this weekend.
Mm,
Unfortunately, just that their qualifying was not the best, and it happens. However, Leclerc looked very, very good this weekend. I'm not even going to lie. He just needed two more laps to get past George Russell.
mm.
He was straight up George Russell's
But
basically
are you
for
talking
the
about the
last.
talented George Russell or the normal George Russell?
Oh, Graham, for Pete's sakes. Oh, everything I say on
Bro,
this
bruh.
podcast, Graham has
What
to add an asterisk. Everything I say.
what
Yeah.
did George Russell do to you? What did George
His
Russell
name
do
is
to
George
you?
Russell, mate.
Honestly.
What more does he need to do? Let's be honest.
Look.
But yeah,
I'm gonna humbly admit I'm not a George Russell fan, but you can't deny. Just like I can't deny that Lando isn't championship material, you can't deny that George Russell is a phenomenal driver when he's switched
yeah,
But
on.
yeah, but
but
you are not a George Russell fan as much as you weren't a Logan Sargent fan. So I don't really know what.
and the thing
I
and
felt bad for the kid.
So
Let
then you
me
feel bad
be.
for George
I'm
Russell.
never
You see
gonna say
exactly.
George.
You feel bad for George Russell too. Then
No, I do not. George Russell is. I'm going to be honest. He's captain bottleneck when it comes to very pressurized moments. We've seen it in Singapore last year, Canada this year. We know this. Russell tends to crack under pressure, but he is not a bad driver.
so, but
He
to
is
be
not a bad
honest,
driver.
I don't think we want George Russell to be a world championship because that ego will be skyrocketing,
Uh,
my guy.
no, that I
So
agree with. That I agree
you
with.
don't
mate,
I'm
need that at the
if
literally
it
moment.
was
You
if
don't
it was
need that.
safe, if it was safe enough, the guy would be racing with no shirt on. Come on,
Basically,
like
in a nutshell.
okay.
he
No,
loves
I
himself
agree with
so
that.
much.
I all
I don't know. And he has a
again. I
girlfriend.
agree
And he
with
has a
all
girl. I'm
this.
like, how do they maintain a relationship with this guy so in love with himself? It's crazy. But
Ah,
anyway,
okay.
yeah, Dirk,
Tangent
Ferrari's
aside,
looking good. I'm happy. I don't know how Graham feels about was looking this past race.
I think it's great. To be honest, if there's one thing, I don't want to say this because being a McLaren and a Red Bull fan, it's kind of the complete opposite to anything that I'll go for. But I have said it in the past before that F1 needs Ferrari to be winning again. And although Leclerc is not really going to be able to win the World Championship unless something really tragic happens with Max, but what I'm trying to say is I think it would still be special for Leclerc to win a championship, even if it were a constructors with them. Even look, Science has had a
oh
pretty
yes.
good year, at least the start, but he's sort of like gone a little bit backwards as the years come on, right? So you can say that Leclerc has been the much bigger contribution to the to the championship fight. So be it that they win a constructors, for example, I think for Leclerc, who wants to win a championship with Ferrari, I think that will mean a lot to him. Even if it's not his championship, I still think it would go a long way, and I think it would give him a lot more confidence to know that he can do it. You know, for him to see I can do it. You
Mm.
know, so I think it's great, and very happy for the guy. I think he's doing extremely well, and he's proving us critics wrong. I say us critics because even us as supporters, we've been angry with him.
Mm. Very
We've said he's
critical.
not going to be a champion. We've said he makes too many mistakes. You know, we've said that he doesn't have BMT. You know, but yeah, he's proving us all wrong, and I'm happy for him because he is such a good guy. And you want to see the nice guys winning. You know what I mean? Like you want to see it, even though it's not about that. Even though it's about racing, you want to see the guys that really deserve good things to happen. You want to see them winning. You know, so ultimately, I'm happy for him. I really am happy for him, and I hope he keeps it up. And it's a good time for him to start showing this. I really hope. Dude, you can just imagine how scary Ferrari's going to be to have a Lewis Hamilton that doesn't really make mistakes and Leclerc that's on song and not making mistakes either. I think that's going to be pretty special to watch.
I'm telling you guys now, Ferrari, just like honestly, Aston Martin, Ferrari are cooking right now. And I honestly think, like I said in the previous podcast, remember, these regulations are being carried over to next year. And we talked earlier in the season about Red Bull reaching their ceiling. These other teams aren't far away from reaching their ceilings. I mean, look at Williams. Where have they come from these last two Grand Prix? They all of a sudden the leaders of the midfield, to be honest, when it comes to one lap
Oh,
pace.
it's because
Race
Logan
pace,
Sargent left.
it's still between Williams and Haas. My word. Even Albon is doing great. Albon did phenomenally in Baku and he had a freaking reliability issue this weekend. So don't start with the point I'm trying to make is these regulations carrying over to next year. The chances of us still having this power four teams in the top fight is very likely. And now you've got a Ferrari, like you just said, with a 7-time world champion that almost never makes a mistake, and a Leclerc that's very quickly on the rise. Ferrari are looking menacing for next season, and also their development towards 2026. Everybody knows Ferrari can build a good engine, and everybody knows Ferrari always finds a way eventually, even if it takes them sometimes longer than other teams, to figure out their car. We've seen it right now before our eyes. This car was not close to McLaren and Red Bull just 8 races ago. It wasn't close. And now they're running with it. So I think next year, as a Ferrari fan, is going to be very exciting. But Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, next year, I think, is going to be insane.
For sure.
But talking about insanity, for the first time since the 1960s, we've got an Argentine driver on the grid. And this weekend, his nickname was chosen by the commentators, and it's Frankie all the way. Franco Colapinto.
No.
This guy sniffed Perez's gearbox oil and just decided, yeah, I'm attaching to that, and I'm not letting you breathe for 62 laps. This kid that dived into turn one, diving up the inside of 4 other cars. Yes, Albon had a little bit of a hissy fit, which was completely unnecessary. This kid is literally proving himself. He's proven himself within 3 Grand Prix that he deserves to be in Formula One, as far as you ask me. Crofty said it this weekend. So many higher up F1s said it. And literally just before the race started, there was a press conference released where Williams said that they will support Colapinto in trying to help him secure a contract with Audi for 2026.
Let's be honest, he only needed 1 point to prove himself in that seat. Just saying.
But he's starting to match and even beat Albon.
I'm just saying.
We put Albon on this pedestal of like he's kind of a teammate crusher. Yes, he had Latifi and Sargent. It wasn't hard, but he was beating them badly. He did kind of an Alonso thing. And now all of a sudden there's this new kid on the block and Albon is struggling to figure out what to do.
Yeah, but I think like I'm looking at the internet now and going that everyone's going crazy about Albon this and Albon that, but I don't really get it because Albon was still ahead of him and still is ahead of him. And even in the last race, Colapinto got points. Where was Albon? Ahead of him. So it's not like, it's easy to be a teammate killer when you don't really have, I mean, let's look at Max, for example. He can be called a teammate killer if you want to kill it. But, put Lawson in that car. Maybe Lawson will be closer to him and maybe he won't look like that teammate killer anymore. Doesn't mean that he's not good. Doesn't mean that Max is not good anymore. It just means that he's got a better teammate. So in this case, it's not that Albon's not a teammate killer. He's never been a teammate killer. That to me doesn't make sense. He's just been an extremely good, consistent driver that has a direction with the team and knows where he wants to go. Carlos Sainz is probably going to beat him a couple times, and he might beat Carlos a couple times. I think they'll be quite evenly matched. But for now, Colapinto is just better than Logan and Latifi ever was, and that to me is what it really is all about. That's who we should be giving praise about. We shouldn't be talking about Albon is losing this, Albon is losing that. Give respect to the man. He's not losing anything, but let's give Colapinto more respect. He's gaining a lot more. And I mean, this kid is 6th in F2, and he's still 6th in F2. He hasn't raced how many races now? And to be quite honest with you, it also makes you wonder if he's 6th in F2, Behrman's got a seat, Kimi's got a seat, he's currently in a seat and doing very well. It must make you think Imagine how first and second place drivers in F2 are, about their talent. What are they looking like if you think about them, considering they are actually winning the championship? So there's some talent to go around here, and just not enough seats, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm very impressed with him, I will say that. But I do think that people are jumping on this very quickly about Albon this and Albon that. Like, just say it for what it is. Colapinto is better than what was in that seat before, and he's making Williams a better team because he's now. BT's laughing. I didn't mean that in a funny way this time. It's just that's the truth, and he is better, and he's working for the team. He's working with the team, and he's going to help that team move forward. Look, don't get me wrong. That Audi seat, I mean, Bottas could take it. Colapinto could take it. Porsche, whatever his name is. What's the guy that...
Teo Porsche, yes.
Yeah, Teo
LPG, you're
Porsche
right.
got a shot at it. The current winner of F2, or the current leader of F2, has got a shot. Daniel
Marco
Ricciardo
Bortolotti.
might have a shot. You never know. Matteo Binotto had an interest in him before in the past, so you never know. Bearing in mind, Daniel wouldn't go there to be. Let's be honest. Daniel's not going to go there to be a lead driver. He would be going there to help them build a car. Let's be honest. If you consider
Yes.
Hulk is there, Daniel smashed Hulk in the Renault. I would think that if Daniel had to join them, I think it would be the other way around. This time around, I don't think Daniel has aged well in Formula One, and I think he knows it. I think he's something he said in the interview as well that kind of made me think. I think he knows that he hasn't aged well. His body hasn't taken to it well. If you consider the lap times he put in now to get that fastest lap, he broke a record on that track. Where are those lap times? Why can't he do that consistently? I don't think his body can handle it. I think his body is done. I don't think his body can handle it. And that's probably why. So I think Hülkenberg has aged amazingly. And I think Hülkenberg would be better than Daniel now if Daniel had to get into that car. So let's just say Daniel's out. Colapinto, shot for that car. I think Colapinto would be perfect for that drive because he's now proven himself. He's a youngster. He could be a rookie in the team. They've already got Hülkenberg that will help build that car up. So I am rooting for Colapinto, and I really do hope that they can get him in there. Honestly.
Yeah. BT, your opinion on old Frankie?
Doesn't care, to be honest.
Yeah. First of all, I don't actually care. I just have to say something just to make the part look good. Look, the only thing I can say is that finally, well, in terms of a second driver, because the last two second drivers were bad. Okay, I don't know who does negotiating or scouts them out or whatever, but it was bad. So at least they got someone now who's fairly quick in Albon's level, not clearly, but just there. And then you must look at from Frankie's side as well, is that he also wants to, advertise himself to other teams. So he needs to do well. He needs to maybe sometimes finish ahead of Albon.
Yeah.
He needs to put in those quick times. He needs to qualify better than Albon or just behind it. So he's in the right track at the moment. I was impressed as well. And let's see for the last 6 races what he does. And maybe those last 6 races could actually, initiate his future in F1. So let's just see.
For sure. By the way, they weren't bad at negotiating. Claire, no, I'm serious.
Yeah,
I watched a podcast with Claire the other day, and she said that the company had to resort to paid drivers. She admitted that everything they did was about getting a paid driver. So obviously with Latifi, Safina, his father's food company, but yeah, just to put that in perspective, it's not that they're bad at negotiating, it's that they had no choice to get paid drivers because they just didn't have money.
Yeah, but it was the
So,
same reason why Robert
uh,
Kubica was in that car, because Robert Kubica had so many sponsors. He was way past his
Mm,
F1 peak, but they had to put Kubica next to Russell because they needed the sponsor money that
mm,
Kubica would bring. It's the same situation with Perez and Red Bull with the whole
yeah,
Mexico thing. So it's unfortunately that's something that's part of team negotiations when it comes to F1. And if you're a driver with strong sponsors,
yeah,
you're more likely to get a seat than a driver that might be faster than you but doesn't bring that much money to
yeah,
the
for sure.
table. But in any case, while we're on the topic of Daniel Ricciardo, look, Graham, I don't know about BT's perspective, but from my side, look, I know we've hated a lot on Daniel Ricciardo, especially this season, but just like Lando, Ricciardo has been one of those characters in Formula One that you just can't help but love him. He always has a way to make you smile, make you laugh, and Ricciardo on his day, I will admit he is one of the best to never win a world championship. I will admit that for him. But like you said, that interview, and I'm going to be honest, even I got a bit choked up with that interview post race. Is Ricardo? I think he knows it's over now,
Mm,
and it's sad the way his career is ending. It's ending very much in a David Coulthard manner, which is very
mm,
sad. But it's time. I'm sorry to rip the band-aid off, but
yeah,
it's time. If you see what Yuki's doing in that car, and you've got drivers like Liam Lawson lined up, they have to get their shot. And unfortunately, Ricardo is going to be the one to suffer underneath it. But he's built a very good resume for himself. There's a lot of other racing series where he can still go racing and where he can still be a very good driver. But I think the curtain is now closing on his F1 time, and it is sad to see, but unfortunately, it is time.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And look, it choked me up. I mean, it was quite sad because you could see the car was about to cry. Honestly, you know, like that when you want to cry but you don't want to cry, so you try to hold it in type of talk. That's literally what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sad. I'm gonna say something slightly outrageous now, and I know you guys might not agree with me, but this is the way I see it. I don't think Yuki's all that good. If I'm really honest with you, I really don't think he's all that good. But yet he smashed Daniel. Do you know what I mean? So for me,
Mm.
you know, as good as Daniel was once, you can't as no matter how big you are as a fan, you can't sit here and think or find ways to justify why he should still stay in the sport. You just can't. I don't think Yuki is all
Mm.
that good, yet Yuki is smacking him around. With that being said, it's time to go at that point. Like, listen, dude, like I love you, but you got Liam Lawson here who, in my opinion, is most likely going to be better than Yuki. He was last year when he came in for that 5 races.
Mm-hmm.
You also need to consider the Red Bull situation currently. They've got a lot of juniors, yes, but in terms of experience, if something happens to Max, who's taking over? You can't tell me Yuki's going to take over. There's no ways Yuki is
No,
anywhere near
no,
Max's stage. Perez can't take over. So you need to get Lawson in there really quickly. Because if Max decides, listen, I'm gone, and can I be honest with you? Considering they're putting Lawson in, well, potentially putting Lawson in now already, I'm almost certain that that's them saying we need to get Lawson in case Max decides to leave. I really have a feeling that they're doing
mm,
that. Because why else would they need to put him in now? Why can't they just, besides the fact that they do have, I mean, it's quite a tight fight between 6, 7, and 8 at the moment. So I guess maybe that is one of the reasons. But yeah, for me, uh, I think personally, if Max decides I'm gone, they're gonna need Lawson. They really are. So I think it's time.
yeah.
It's sad, and but it is what it is. And I think for his final goodbye, he gave Max a very nice thank you gift. Um, for his flight on the private jet. But yeah, it's a sad time, but it's also a bittersweet moment for me because I love him, but I love Lawson just as much. And to be quite honest, goodbye Daniel, but hello Lawson. So at the end of the day, it's a very bittersweet moment for me. As
Mm.
sad as it is, I'm also very excited as to what is to come for Lawson. So I'm excited, man. I think it's gonna be good. Uh, it is what it is, man. Can't cry about it. It's not like it's
Yeah,
gonna change anything for me to throw a tantrum. You know what I mean?
yeah. BT, I know you don't care, but just your 2 cents on this topic.
Yeah, good riddance.
He does care.
Um, I mean, good riddance. I mean, it was sad seeing that man come back to Formula
Shh.
One looking at.
BT's gonna get
So,
smacked.
yeah, no, it's time about this, and finally it's happening, and I'm so happy. He had his time to shine. Clearly, he's not built the way Alonso and Hamilton are built in terms of aging, but
Yeah,
still being
longevity.
able to stay competitive. So not everyone is
Mm.
built like that. So Alonso's career to me, it's like Michael Jordan's career. Not saying we're not going to talk about the championships or anything like that. Michael Jordan was so amazing playing for the Chicago Bulls from the 1980s to the late 90s. Then Michael Jordan retired and he came back in the early 2000s and he played for the Wizards. That Michael Jordan was awful to watch. Very horrible.
Mm.
Horrible to
Mm,
watch. And that's exactly the way I feel about Daniel Ricciardo's career. Amazing start of a career. Amazing. A lot of highlights, a lot of memories. But as time went to the twilight times of his career,
Mm.
it's starting to look bad. And now, as a normal human being, you, you kind of think of, we should have just left it there. We should have just left it where it
Mm.
was good and just retire or go away in a high note.
Mm.
To me, yesterday when I was watching his press conference, yes, I felt for him, but for me, it was sad where that man comes from
Mm.
and where he ended up.
It really
It
is.
was sad, to
mm.
be honest with you. So, as Dirk said, one of the best, debatable. But yeah, all good. I don't really care, guys, to be honest with you.
No, 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 no. Rephrase that. I said one of the best to never win a
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
championship. Not
debatable.
one of the best. One of the
Debatable.
best to never win a championship. That's a
It's
category on its own.
Yes, debatable.
yeah,
That's
it's
what I
still
said.
debatable. I mean, you've got David Coulthard, you've got Sterling Moss, you've got Mark Webber. I think they're all in the same category though. They're all in that category of really, really, really good drivers that just couldn't take it all the way. You know, it's remember F1,
Mm,
and I think this is where people get very stuck. Um, F1 is also there's also a lot of luck in F1 about having the right car, about having the right team. Sometimes you can be the best driver. I'm sure that there
Mm-hmm.
are drivers out there that have possibly perhaps even been better than Max, but they've just never been in the right position to get there. They haven't been lucky enough to get there. It's
yeah.
just one of those things. I think the thing with Max, Lando, Piastri, for example, I think what they've done well, specifically Max and Lando, is they've stuck it out. They've waited, they've bided their time, and
Mm,
they've let the team around them grow. And I think that's really good because that's given them the opportunity to stick in there and then fight for it. So I think that's a really good way to go in Formula One, and they've really done quite well with it. So, quite honestly, F1 can also be about luck. But you look at Max, you look at Lando,
Uh,
Max, and Piastri now. I don't think they will ever be in a team that is not fighting at the front. If you look at because of what they've been able to do now, every top team will want them. So now they're in a position.
and,
Sorry.
mm.
and the thing is, Graham, is that talk about Ricardo. I think that decision you made going from Red Bull to Renault will always want him for the rest of his life.
I think
That's
the
just
move
my
to Renault
opinion.
was okay.
Mm.
I think the move to
Because
From Renault to McLaren, that's what killed him. Because at Renault, he was still growing. He was building that team. He was pulling the team forward. He was still doing well. He killed Hulkenberg. He killed Ocon. I don't. Yeah.
yeah, but it's not about that. It's about the fact that the team principal still wanted
Oh
you
yes.
in
Yeah.
Red Bull. It was going
Yeah.
to be a different case. It was a different case if Christian Warner said,
Mm,
"Okay, cool, you can leave, bro." Christian Warner actually,
yeah. 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 Fair enough.
it's a, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
No, no. Look, Graham, I see your point. but because I really want to move on because we're running out of time. But this is where I have to agree with BT. I mean, it's one of the most famous lines that Netflix has ever produced with the F1 series, and it's something that's ingrained in my mind that I didn't agree with in the beginning, but now I do. And Christian Horner said that it feels like Daniel's running away from a fight. And again, he had the top team. He had a team that wanted to build with him. And they came out and said, yes, Max is the young guy, but we're going to give you just as many opportunities. And he just didn't
Yeah.
want to stay. And unfortunately, in this regard, I agree with BT. But to the last topic, before we get into the last little fun part of the podcast, and it was so beautiful to see. And actually, I want to make a statement before you two guys talk. Fernando Alonso and Graham, you said it a few podcasts ago that Fernando is just over that peak. He's not. He's not. He's back, and he's got here to stay. I think it's the new signing that has revitalized him. But the point I want to make, and it's not just towards you, I'm not targeting you, I'm targeting all the haters out there, the Twitter warriors that said Fernando Alonso has peaked and it's over now. If you go look at the Drivers' Championship, which Alonso is holding best of the rest, P9, he's got almost 3 times the points of the two drivers below him who are tied. Alonso is sitting on 62 Drivers' Championship points, and the two drivers below him are sitting on 24. In a car that has been also referenced, like the Alpine, to be a tractor at some tracks. He's had a few dips, I will admit, but Alonso is carrying. And this weekend, he was the best of the rest in a car that shouldn't have been close to points.
Yeah. I don't recall ever saying that he peaked. Did I say that?
You said 2 podcasts ago, you said you feel that Fernando he's hit that stride. It's over now. He's going to start to decline because Stroll was starting to beat him.
Was I smoking something that night or what was it?
I don't know what you were doing.
I think so.
I mean, you're forgetting I'm an Alonso fan as well, mate. So I don't know why I would say that.
Like I said, I'm not targeting you because I thought at that moment Graham just he's speaking out of his butt right now.
Interesting.
But
okay, but
yes.
in any case,
so it's more targeting the Twitter warriors.
But, okay. Anyways, the point is, yeah. I mean, I think having Newey joining is definitely going to give him a little bit of a boost in his a spring in his step, if you want to call it that. So. Yeah, I'm for it, man. I'm for it. I'm really for it. And I can't wait to see what happens with him in a car that built by Adrian Newey. Oh, my goodness. I really can't wait.
No, same. BT?
No, I'm not going to commit to sin, bro, and talk bad about Alonso. Oh, hell, I'm not going to do that.
Commit to sin. Oh, my word. What a statement.
Look, I'm going to talk about the Adrian Newey signing. Alonso's winning his last championship and he's retiring afterwards. That's definitely happening. That's definitely happening. So it might be, okay, might be 2026, might be 2027, might be 2028.
Might be 2050 at this point.
Those 4.
Yeah. Alonso doesn't seem like he's stopping anytime soon.
Bro. No, we don't want to see that. So yeah, I mean,
I want to.
Yeah.
I want to.
No.
I love that, man. He's my hero. As long as Alonso can be in a race car, I'm watching, whether it's F1 or anything else. If Alonso's racing, I'm watching.
You're missing the point again. You're missing the point. F1 drivers.
I know, but now I'm a fanboy.
Drivers should retire on the high. That's how Michael retired on the high.
Yeah.
You don't want to see Alonso put a Daniel Ricciardo on us now. You don't want to. You don't want Alonso to do that. You just don't.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't want him to be literally chased out of a seat. He's too fantastic for that. He's too legendary for that. So next 4 years, Alonso might win 1 championship and he'll be done. Get his 3rd and he moves on with life afterwards. We know it. We know what Hamilton wants. Hamilton wants his 8th one, then he's out of here and he's out.
Yeah.
We know that. We know that.
Yeah.
No, that's very true. Look, one thing that I will say with all honesty, if Alonso wins his third title, you guys will hear the Spanish national anthem from my house in Gauteng in Cape Town. That is a promise. But let's get into the end of this podcast. So, moment of the weekend. Let's get into it. Graham, your moment of the weekend.
Ugh, I'm gonna have to be the sappy guy here and just go for the Daniel Ricciardo interview because it was quite heartbreaking, but it was a special moment because it was almost like that final goodbye. You know, the fact that he took that fastest
Yeah.
lap, got driver of the day. You know that was everybody in the world saying, "We salute you, Daniel Ricciardo," which he said it himself. You know,
Yeah.
usually drivers don't care about driver of the day, but that actually felt good to him because it made him feel like, you know, people cared, they backed him. So generally, like I don't mean this in I'm not trying to, Dirk, I'm not do
No, you
no,
are.
I'm not.
You
But
are.
when you look at, like, for example, when it's Latifi's last race, or when it's Sargent's last race, or nobody cares at all. You know, they just leave. You know what I mean? So
No,
like,
I,
so
I,
so
I
like for
will.
me,
I
for
agree
me,
with that.
you got to say, like, you've got to feel special when you get driver of the day on your potential last race, because you know you must have made an impact on
Mm,
so many people, considering they voted for you. I mean, he was nowhere close to being the best driver of the day. So, you know, it's just one of those things. So that, yeah,
yeah.
to me, Daniel Ricciardo's fastest lap and his interview.
Right, BT.
Moment of the week. Clear doing the clear thing, saving Ferrari's weekend. You know, easy like that, easy going. Look, it was a disaster Saturday, but that man saved Ferrari's weekend.
Ugh,
He saved Ferrari's weekend, and that's my moment of the
no,
week.
no, that's very good. And then I will go with the boring but obvious answer. For me, the moment of the weekend was just Lando's
Fair
dominance.
enough.
Like nobody could touch him. And actually, I'm going to define it a bit more. The most exciting thing about this whole race was Lando Norris fans just praying for Lando to get slower because he was tapping walls left, right, and center.
Oh,
So the fact that Lando finished for me is the moment
fair
of the
enough. Fair enough.
weekend. Oh man, yes, I like my best friend and my housemate. He's a massive Lando Norris fan. And when that replay showed this of the second tap going into the just before the bridge where Russell crashed last year, with that moment when Lando tapped the wall with his rear tire, he just went all white and he's just like, Lando, please. And I think that was felt around the whole world for any Lando Norris fan. So yeah, but with that being said, blooper of the weekend, BT. Don't do it to Graham. BT, don't do it to Graham. I know exactly what that evil laugh means. Don't do it.
No, my blooper of the weekend is Verstappen thinking that he got undercut by Leclerc, but it wasn't the case. That was so funny,
Yeah.
bruh. Like Verstappen was like swearing, like, "What are we doing? Oh, it's stupid." They're like, "Nah, Max. Leclerc is in a different race, bruh. He hasn't even put it yet."
That
That
was
was
pretty funny.
funny. And the
Yeah, no,
Ferrari was so
that
fast
was hilarious.
because I think Verstappen was so surprised that he got passed by Leclerc. That's how fast the Ferrari was this
Yeah.
weekend, bro. That's just how fast it and he was on even on old tires. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
that was really just acted like clearly he was not aware of what was happening. But yeah, that was my blooper.
Gra-
Yeah,
Graham?
speaking about Max swearing, my blooper of the week comes from FIA for giving this man community service. I mean,
Oh my word. I
I
forgot
forgot
about that.
about
I
I
mean,
forgot about that actually.
what's gonna happen, gents? Are they gonna start telling these drivers how they're allowed to breathe or what? Like, this is ridiculous. But no, look, honestly, that was terrible. I just think that they're going the wrong direction. There's technology, guys. Surely there's technology that can bleep out the stuff if they really don't want it anymore. But it's genuinely it's stupid. So for me, yeah, FIA.
Just don't air it. They've got so much control of that. Just if they hear the driver swearing, just don't air
That's
it.
all.
Don't show it to everyone. Just it doesn't exist. That's it. I know that to me honestly was a bit pathetic, but
Wow.
in any case. And my blooper of the weekend to end on a meme is the marshal that chased the lizard on Friday practice. That was the funniest thing I've seen in years. That lizard doing like a little hobble, and this marshal absolutely gunning his little legs off to try and catch that thing. Oh, like I was busy. I was at work and I'm busy watching practice, and it's a red flag. And this comes on, and like F1 didn't like even pull the plug on this. They aired everything,
Yeah.
and this marshal is just like he's Usain Bolt, but that lizard just wasn't getting caught. I but I almost burst out in
Yeah,
tears
my
laughing
question
of
is
that. That was
my
that was
question is how
cinema.
hungry was that guy? Why was he chasing the lizard like that? Like, anyways,
Bro,
And
you're
besides
saying
that,
people in Singapore eat
just to add the
lizards,
chair.
bro. That's a bold statement. That
but
is a
they
bold
but they do
statement,
eat
actually.
lizards though.
Okay.
Yeah, well, hey, we were in Singapore, not China. Point being, and just to add the cherry on top of my cake, as usual, launch troll. But in any case, let's get now into the predictions. Okay. So, Graham, just want to know, you want me to run it or do
Go
you
for
want
it.
to run the predictions? All right. So, we're going to start off with little old me because I was the one that actually remembered to do the predictions. And my predictions were for the race result. I said, oh, oh my word, I was an idiot. That is a nervous laugh. All right. So I said race result, Leclerc, Sainz, Hamilton. Shoe. Okay.
Yeah, the
Then I
Hamilton one
went,
I didn't get, bro. I wanted to say
dude,
that. Why would you choose
dude,
Hamilton?
bro, Lewis is so fast around Singapore. I just thought like Mercedes were going to figure something out. They're always strong at Singapore. Let's throw Lewis in there. But yeah, clearly I was very much mistaken. Then I went pole position Leclerc. If Q3 was just different, that was a possibility. And bottom five, I went with Haas, which also, well, Hulkenberg, yes, Magnussen, damn no. But I don't know. Graham, you think that's legitimate to go Haas or
Oh,
I don't know.
legitimate to go Haas as in they were the best?
The thing is, they weren't because he got beaten by Alonso. But also, again, you look at Stroll and Magnussen, they were years behind their
Yeah.
teammates. So I don't know. It's a very tough one, that. But in any case, Graham, you said race result Leclerc, Norris, Piastri as your top three. You actually you're getting 1 point for being one miss with Lando. You went pole position, Lando Norris. Well done. Congratulations. And then bottom five, Alpine. Very much mistaken, unfortunately.
Why did you
And
choose
I don't,
Alpine?
Last year they did okay around there, hey? Gasly came sixth.
yeah, they were
Gasly came
actually
sixth
fast.
last year.
Yeah, last year they
The
were
the
very
cars
strong
aren't all
around
that
here.
different, so I just figured maybe. But by the way, Haas was the best of the bottom five.
Yeah.
Yes, I get a point. Yahoo! 1 point out of everything, but in any case. And then BT, you went for your race result Leclerc, Norris, Sainz. You at least get that 1 point for being one place off with Norris. But yeah, I pooped the bed on this. Pole position, you also went
Not
for
surprised.
Leclerc, and bottom five,
One away.
Williams, which was very close, actually. That was very close with Williams. I think if Albon actually stayed in this race, then we would have had a little bit of a difference in that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But not the best weekend for all three of us. Graham, you definitely did the best with the Lando pole. So congrats on that. And then finally, before we end off, the race
Three,
review.
like
This is going to
three,
be
just
quick,
three. Done.
easy. Okay, Graham, just three, done. PT.
Yeah. Three as well, bro.
Okay. I'm honestly gonna. The only thing that really kept me intrigued was like the battles in the midfield, but there also weren't many. So for me, it's a 4, just a little bit higher than you guys, but it wasn't a great race. This honestly for me was more boring than Monaco. I thought Monaco was more exciting than
It
this.
was actually, to be honest.
Yeah, it really was. So yeah, we had another Zandvoort, except with like nothing like an overtake for the lead, and also it was the first race Lando didn't lose the lead off the start. So
Yeah,
congratulations, Lando. Took him took him seven pole positions to actually get one off the
fair
start and
enough.
not lose it. Um, but yeah, okay. Everybody, thank you very, very much for watching. That has been the podcast. Don't forget to drop a like down below. Communicate with us in the comments. And if you've made it this far to listening to us three chatting a bit
What
of
are you
balls about
doing?
F1, make sure to hit the subscribe down below. And don't forget to ding that bell. Graham, sod off. And we'll see you guys for the next podcast, which is a while away. But let's get ready for Austin, Texas. Have a great evening, or any time of day you're watching this.
Subscribe,
Cheers,
likes,
BT Graham.
bye.
Oh